All right, we step back into the matrix. Are we live? We're live. Okay, let's do it. So Alice needs a system context. So here is, oh yes, back when we didn't know about what output operations are, just a few days ago. System context Alice CLI version equals, okay, so Alice version CLI, okay, so version equals version CLI. So what do we want? Alice version CLI. So what do we want from this system context? Um, well, we want to load Alice's system context. System context Alice CLI version equals system context Alice system context v split Alice entities Alice system context. Okay, so, oh wow, we actually did do some of the type unification, didn't we? We've done a lot. Okay, system context. Data flow. Let's get version, so let's just say version. Okay, so the instance name is version. Operations, version, Alice version. Right, so we give this operation implementation, which will go, okay, Alice version, and then we can abstract all of this to be arbitrary entities if we wanted to. Alice name, entity, okay, so maybe we should do, all right, so entity and Alice, okay, so Alice entity name, entity version, okay, Alice version, Alice version is derived from entity version, okay. Entity version, entity name, Alice name, Alice version. Okay, so I wonder, yeah, there's probably some nice pattern that we can find for this. Entity name, Alice name. Okay. And then I think we can start pulling that stuff that we had with the config and the static config that ended up. Where did that end up? I'm not sure where it ended up. It ended up in Alice conversation. Okay, so that'll need to go into the main package, but we'll use it for now. Okay, we'll probably just put it in the main package. Okay, so we'll return Alice for now. Okay, so these are auto start operations, right? So they will run by default when a context starts. Now, if a context is a deployment and the deployment has been made specifically for a given operation, then we're going to attach conditionals. Basically, we're going to overlay. We're going to overlay uh, effectively something that says, um, you know, run this operation, and then it only that operation will run, basically. Um, I guess we'll put a conditional on everything else, or we overlay a conditional for each method name or something. Yeah, and then we can just keep that flow cached so that we don't have to redo that overlay all the time. Okay, it would be nice to sit once in a while. Can I sit out here somehow? Is there a way I could figure that out? Maybe. Okay. Let me just see if I can sit out here. Right. So much better. Okay. I'm not actually sitting. I'm sort of kneeling on a chair. It's not really conducive to sitting out here. Um, which is much better than standing for the millionth day in a row. Let's see. So, okay. So, analysis system context. Okay. System context analysis. System context. CLI version. Okay. So this is where system context CLI version is the same as, okay, so effectively, so deployment means give me a method for this thing. So CLI version would be a method of some kind. Okay. And it would initiate the call to the data flow. Okay, but we don't need to worry about that. We're just going to say system context Alice, and then the CLI can figure out how it wants to do that. So system context Alice. All right, so we're going to define our data flow, our operations. We might also define some dynamic config, where we should load save models from. Um, we'll get into all that. So, oh yeah, maybe we should do a model example. That might be fun. No, we have a lot of security related examples to do. Okay. What was the command that we were running here? Okay, and so we can just write these as regular functions. We should be able to without even decorating them. System context is not defined. Default.system context. Okay, and so could we have potentially something, yeah, we could potentially have something which picks up all functions and creates a system context from a module. So basically just every function in a module, everything in a module becomes a system. Yeah, we can basically have a module to system context via system context. Okay, so name system context not defined. Nodemon. Uh-oh. right, so this, what was the deal here? Oh, this can't call op. So, yeah, it can't call op. Function object has no attribute replace. I want us to be able to pass functions. How could we structure this so that we could pass functions? So an operation, does an operation need to know anything about a data flow? I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think this needs to know anything about a data flow. So if the data flow wanted, it could grab this. Op, okay. Where are we at right now? Okay. Generate namespace. Function is now attribute replace. So we had this thing where we were going to do this whole, um, we had this thing where we were going to do this whole, come on brain, don't give out on me now. Keep going. No talking, only doing. All right. We're going to move op. Okay, so these, yeah, we're going to be wrappers around system context. So we're going to take all of this stuff and we're going to put it in. So, okay, so this needs to be in here because operation implementation context is in here. I'll just wrap with op. All right, so here we're missing an S on this. Deployment takes one positional argument, but two were given. Fuck off, mosquito. Deployment environment equals blank. Okay, so there's Alice. So let's see what's getting loaded. Alice. So, oh. Level. Okay. Okay, let's not, do dot title, let's say entities, Alice, entry points. Let's just capitalize it here and then install it again. Okay, let's see if we can pick her up now. Hello, Alice. Async generator object is not iterable. Pour thought in Alice. Perfect. Okay. Okay, and we should probably set, to do Alice should probably set origin slash use origin as Python dot caller or something like that. So I don't know how we should do that. Maybe we should signify somehow that for this deployment environment, this is what you should be adding the origin as. I don't know. We could do some kind of discovery, maybe. I don't know. So yeah, so async forethought in Alice. So this would basically say, oh man, okay, come on. Okay, so this is not entirely important right now. Um, okay, okay. So she is this async generator object right now. Okay, forethought in Alice. Okay, so getting tired. Okay, come on. All right. Okay. So what are we trying to do right now? Get file contents, add date. Okay, so we have our system context. We would like, oh man, man, come on. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about this right now. I don't know if I can keep doing this right now. Um, yeah, my brain's not working. I think it's time to go to sleep. All right. Okay. Yeah. Oh man, no. Okay, come on. Forethought in Alice, print thought. Come on, Alice. She's almost here. She's almost here. I'm just gonna give up right now. That's insane. For sleep? No. Okay, I'm just gonna sit here for a second and think about this. Ah. Alright, so the system context. Okay, so what do we want to do now? Well, we want to serialize and deserialize the system context to DIDs and pure DIDs and DID methods. So what are we currently trying to do? So I think we should ditch this Python API stuff right now. Um, yeah, I'm pretty sure that we can just call this a day on this one because we don't really need to fuck with this right now. So it's not a critical path. Um, so, I think what we did is we proved that we made a plugin and we can install system context, right? So we can install and load them. What we do with them is, async iterate basically at this point. Um, so, and we haven't wired up the output, which is really just grabbing. I think we just need to grab all of the outputs which are not consumed anywhere else, I think by default. Otherwise, we will grab, for a specific deployment environment, we would grab the outputs of that operation. And that's right, we were going to maintain pre-overlaid deployment environments. Or no, we were going to, how do we do that? Well, we'll run the overlay. Well, we don't need to run the overlay. We can do a static overlay. Yeah, we don't need to do an async overlay. We can do a static overlay for deployment. So if we do a static overlay for deployment, how does that affect? If we do a static overlay for a deployment and then we add other overlays, then if we do a static overlay for deployment and then we add other overlays, we would just record it as a chain, being links being upstream after upstream. So how do you record a link? How do you record links of system context? Well, you have the upstream. Okay. With the upstream, what does that give you? Well, it's a particular data flow. And if that data flow is created as a result of execution within the data flow orchestrator that we have right now that we're going to implement this on, it will set the parent. And then we'll be able to map which link, when we save the inputs, which parent, which links are which system context. So we'll know that this link is upstream and yada yada, because we can do basically, this is that, because it's the instance itself. So, okay, so we can then, oh, bugs, um, spiders and bugs. Okay, so we don't need to do this right now. Okay, what's the critical priority? Make sure the overlays work. Make sure the overlays work. So the overlays, okay. Okay, make sure the overlays work. Or maybe we should just go scan the CV bin tool repos now that we have data flow as class basically via system context as class. So maybe we should just look at integrating into the Alice CLI. Okay, yeah, so we wanted the Alice CLI to be completely overlayable, which is why we're doing this, so that we could say Okay, here's the Alice system context. So I want a derived system context from Alice system context. All I'm going to do is set Alice as the upstream and this is the overlay. And then I'll update her within the overlay to create my customized entity, right, for my given deployment environment or whatever job this entity has, right, or maybe it's just another version of Alice. Um, my internal version of Alice, right, might just be, uh, it might just be Alice with an overlay on top. So let's try that right now. And that way we can support, a DFFML specific version of Alice and a generic version of Alice. Okay, we're going to try it right now. What are we going to do? We're going to make an overlay. We're going to define Alice as if we're going to make sure the CLI command stuff works. We're not going to worry about this Python native stuff right now. Make sure the CLI command works. If the CLI command works, then okay, come on. If the CLI command works, then apply an overlay onto the name command. So make sure that there's a name command and a version command. Provided this works, overlay onto the name and version. And maybe we could have an info which calls both name and version, and that way in the overlay we could just format the data slightly differently and use a different value for the entity name. And then hopefully that will be what we need to personalize an entity. And then as we'll see, our models and so forth should fit right into these serialized system contexts so that we can have entity state. And entity state can be loaded dynamically, of course. So let's go. Let's do it. Come on. And then after that, then we will pursue serialization via DID because we'll be able to, serialization via DID. And then we need to think about, actually before we think about serialization via DID, we need to go back into system context and we need to make it so that the active context, the active system context, which is usually what we would see as the context, all caps context class property on a base data flow facilitator subclass. We need to, because they all follow the double context entry, right? And usually the top level one is called the object and the second level one is called the context. But with this, it's already called the system context. So the sub level down is the active system context, right? So we have a system context, which is basically just, okay, it's ready to go. And an active system context, which is like, checking out that orchestrator for that data flow and getting ready to run it. I think, let's see, we should double check if we do that. Okay, here we go. All right, so all right, namespace, populate installed system context by setting by registered entry point name. Version CLI version. Is this Alice? Yeah. Okay, I think we can close all these. Start to consolidate. Okay. 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 Maybe I should get some sleep. All right. Okay. No. I'll probably go faster if I get some sleep. I'm probably going slow right now. All right. I'm gonna stop.